Welcome back to Stars and Myths. In our last episode, I introduced many Alcor stories from various traditions across the Northern Hemisphere. In this episode, I will explore the connection between the Pleiades and Ursa Major with a particular focus on India. As you see here on the image, the Earth's axis wobbles in a circular motion with a period of approximately 26,000 years. Therefore, the celestial North Pole changes over time, leading to different sky views over the course of centuries. If you photograph the sky at night over several hours, it results in beautiful images in which the stars leave a circular streak around a fixed point, the celestial pole. If the picture had been taken some millennia ago, the fixed point corresponding to the celestial North Pole would have been at a different place. So now, with this understanding of how our view of the stars changed over millennia, let's return to Alcor and Mizar. How did they appear in the ancient sky? And could that explain their cultural importance? Using the Stellarium software, it's a great software that is publicly available. I simulated the sky at any different epochs around the northern celestial pole. (4000 BC). The Pleiad rose in the east in the morning before sunrise. Mizar was the closest star of that magnitude to the northern celestial pole. Note that Mizar is just below the celestial pole. Quite remarkable. 2400 BCE. Here on the left image, due to the precession of the equinox, another star, Tuband, was closest to the northern celestial pole. But the pole is about half the distance between Mizar and Kochab, so Mizar is still important. Later, on the right picture, Kochab became a better marker for the pole. Today, Polaris marks the position of the celestial pole very well. So, for more than 1,600 years, between approximately 4000 BC and 2400 BC, Mizar was a reliable indicator of the northern celestial pole. Can therefore reasonably postulate that it was around that time that Alcor got notice due to the importance of Mizar as a marker of the pole. And this might correspond to the appearance of stories about Alcor, Pleiades, and Ursa Major in the myth corpus. Once Alcor became a star in mythology, stories could evolve over a long period, even long after Mizar and Alcor lost their astral significance. Let's recall the Sabatapa Brahmana introduced in the last episode. It associates the east with the Pleiades and Ursa Major with the north. The description is expanding in the Puranas and the Mahabharata to include the story of Arundhati, the faithful wife of the 7 wise men associated with the star of Ursa Major. The association of the Pleiades with the east and Ursa Major, indicating the northern celestial pole, might have inspired the image of the wedding between Ursa Major and the Pleiades, as well as the absence of intercourse between the 7 wise men and the woman who became the Pleiades. This astronomical picture leads to 2 hypotheses for an astral interpretation. First hypothesis: the story recalls past times. The story could tell of the transformation of the sky between 2400 BCE and 2000 BCE. In this hypothesis, the story of Arundhati may correspond to a time when Ursa Major stopped indicating the northern pole and the Pleiad rose further away from the east. In that interpretation, The story about Alcor and the Pleiad in the Sapata Brahmana tells of the transformation of the ancient skies. It's a memory of ancient past times. Second hypothesis. The story relates to the experience that occurred during traveling. The myth is not about changing time, but about changing location. The story might relate to the experience of travelers heading south and observing that the sky was changing. Let's journey back to India between 4200 BC and 2400 BC. Observers in India would have seen the Pleiad raise in the east just before sunrise at the start of spring. At the same moment, Mizar together with Koshab forms efficient marker for finding the celestial pole. On the map you see in a blue shaded area that there are the latitudes where Mizar was truly circumpolar. That means it never set and visible throughout any clear night. Within a narrow red band, a small one, less than 1 degree of latitude, in southern India, Mizar was the only Ursa Major star remaining continuously above a flat, unobstructed horizon. The disappearance of the circumpolar Big Dipper during the night must have been quite an experience. It may explain why Arundhati-Alcor symbolically stayed with her husband while the other stars of Ursa Major disappeared. Mizar and Alcor were the only visible star at some point in the night, and further south they disappeared for a short time, setting and rising north as described in the Sapatapa Brahmana. Let's note that the red line can considerably migrate north in the presence of mountains. A red line corresponds roughly to the Tamil Nadu and Kerala provinces where many speakers of Dravidian language reside. Let's note that according to Ascoparpola, a renowned scientist, Alcor is referred to as the North Star in ancient Tamil, reinforcing the connection between Alcor and the celestial poles. So, based on this specific astronomical condition, we might hypothesize that Alcor rise to prominence began around 4200 BC at the earliest. This last slide focuses on Mizar. Now, let's consider the entire Big Dipper. Again, in the blue area, the Big Dipper is visible all night long on a clear night. The insert shows a situation. No star of the Big Dipper set and moves below the horizon. As one is heading south, Ursa Major transformed from a constellation always visible on a clear night to a constellation where only Mizar and also Alcor, its companion, were circumpolar. This transition corresponds to the red band. The insert that you see here shows the sky around 4000 BC as Mizar and Alcor approach the horizon, just staying above a flat, unobstructed horizon. All the other stars of the Big Dipper are below the horizon sometime later. Situation doesn't change much till 2000 BC, at which time another Ursa Major star, Alcaid, is slightly closer to the northern celestial pole than Mizar. The sky around that time may explain why Arundhati-Alcor symbolically stayed with her husband while the other star of Ursa Major disappeared. The story corresponds to travelers' experience in India between 4000 and 2400 BC. The difficulty with this hypothesis is that Arundhati was described as the only faithful wife of Ursa Major, and in our hypothesis, that's Ursa Major stars that are disappearing, so the men are disappearing. Two hypotheses lead to very different time estimates on when the condition was fulfilled in the sky. The hypothesis of a changing sky during travel, the period is between 4000 and 2400 BC. In the first hypothesis of a changing sky due to precession, the story recalls a time before about 2400 BC. Both interpretations suggest a profound connection to ancient sky in myth. While this part of the Satapatha Brahmana may evoke very ancient times, it's essential to know that we cannot infer the date of writing of this ancient text, as other sections may refer to different period. So in summary, one has two hypotheses to explain the sky described in the Satapatha Brahmana. The one hypothesis is about a memory of ancient times. Second hypothesis is a memory of travel. There is an interesting corollary to the above astral analysis. Our analysis suggests that Alcor became important around 4000 BCE at the earliest. This indication has some implication for another region, more specifically North America. The idea that Alcor was a key marker for the first group of persons entering America is not supported by the astronomical condition or the standard theory of migration just after the last glacial maximum. If we look at the map of Eurasian and American motif, we can see that Ursa Major with Alcor motifs are found in various Native American traditions and across Eurasia, sometimes in similar stories that share common motifs, as we discussed in the last video. Similar motifs support either the independent emergence of these motifs in America and Eurasia, or a diffusion that brought Alcor stories to America at the earliest around 5,000 years ago with the Paleo-Eskimo migration. Still, it could be also much more recent. Dating the appearance of myths is extremely challenging, but star laws offer a valuable, if complex, window into our distant past. With this episode, we conclude the presentation of Alcor in myths and folktales. In our next episode, we present a model that will explain the distribution of myths and provide some response to many questions about how myths appear, disseminate, and disappear. The model addresses the important question raised in the last slide. Do similar myths diffuse to their neighbors or appear independently at several locations? And as usual, the last slide will be about further references. Well, thank you very much for watching, and I see you next time. Bye bye.